Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ning. I'm a Senior Study Director at WestAd, and today my talk is going to focus on the recently released report on the Opportunity Scholarship Program evaluation after the first year. Before I start, just a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the policy position or views of the U.S. Department of Education. So just a little bit of background of the study. WestAd and Pemberton Research are conducting evaluation of the District of Columbia Opportunity Scholarship Program, and for the Institute of Education Science at the U.S. Department of Education. So I will basically start with a brief introduction to the background of the program, followed by talking about the study design and analytic approach methodology we use to estimating the impacts of the program on students and parents' outcomes. And then I'm now going to summarize some of the key findings and the takeaway from the first year impact. So the DC Opportunity Scholarship Program is the only federally funded voucher programs that provides school vouchers to low-income families to send their children to private school of their choice. And the Congress created the OSP in 2004 and reauthorized it in 2011. It was reauthorized again earlier this year. However, this current evaluation focused on the reauthorized OSP in 2011 under the Scholarship for Opportunities and Results Act, also known as SOAR. So this legislation is established the amounts of scholarship, which is up to $8,000 for students in kindergarten to grade 8, and $12,000 for students in high school. It also established the student eligibility criteria. So basically, students who have to be a resident in DC with household income at or below 185% of the federal poverty line. The law also sets higher priority for certain students for selection into the lottery. These include students who had siblings already in the program, or students who were attending schools in need of improvement, or students who were previously offered the scholarship but did not use it. When the DC OSP was created, members of Congress funded the new school choice option through a three-sector approach with $20 million to the DC OSP, $20 million in supplemental funding to the public charter schools, and an additional $20 million for the DC public school system. Congress required an independent evaluation of the OSP program under the SOAR Act, using the strongest possible research design for determining the effectiveness of the program on student and parents' outcome. These outcomes include student academic progress, satisfaction with the school, school safety, and other key outcomes. So a little bit kind of background about the studies of vouchers. So as many of you know, the vouchers have been studied extensively since the first program began in Milwaukee in 1990, and recently released findings about programs operating in Louisiana, Indiana, and Ohio have added to an expanding literature about how the voucher program works and the effectiveness of these programs. WestAd actually conducted an earlier evaluation study of the OSP program from 2004 to 2009. which found that students who were awarded the vouchers to attend private school through the OSP performed similarly to the students who applied but were not offered the scholarship 4 or 5 years after the program. So, which means there were no significant impacts on student academic achievement 4 years after. But the study did find a positive findings for the students who were old enough to have graduated in high school. So those treatment students did graduate with higher rate than the control students who were not offered a scholarship. And the study also found positive findings on parent satisfaction and perception of school safety. However, there were no significant findings on student outcomes in those areas. So Martin talked about all these experiment studies and DC Opportunity Scholarship as required by the law has to use the most rigorous evaluation methodology. So the use of lotteries to award scholarship allows the study to use randomized control trial, which is a gold standard of evaluation methodologies, which basically creates an experiment where the random chance is the only way to determine who receives the offer of the voucher and who doesn't. This ensures that the baseline characteristics of the students as well as the families are equivalent on both the measured characteristics and unmeasured characteristics such as motivation, attitudes towards education, etc. For this study, our treatment students consist of those students who received the scholarship offer through the lottery, and the control students consist of those who did not through the lottery. However, not all the students who were selected through the lottery to receive the offer of the scholarship actually used the scholarship. The evaluation team included 3 consecutive cohorts of students from lotteries created in 2012, 2013, and 2014. Across these 3 years, a total of 1,771 students applied and were eligible to enter the lottery. And only 70% of the students actually used the scholarship out of those who were offered. However, this percentage, 70%, is roughly similar to the percentage reported in the earlier study of the OSP, as well as other similar voucher programs such as New York City and Louisiana is roughly 70%. So the evaluation team required the parents to complete an application form to apply for the scholarship. And the application process included baseline testing of students' achievement in math and reading. As a result, we were able to assess their baseline characteristics across the treatment and control group, and we found that the 2 groups were very similar in terms of their baseline achievement in reading and math, and student composition in terms of gender, race, ethnicity, percentage of students who are attending schools in need of improvement at the time of application, as well as parent employment and education status. The key outcomes of this evaluation includes the students' reading and math achievement test scores 1 year after the program. This is measured by Terra Nova, which is a nationally normed, standardized achievement test. This is a low-stakes test because it's not a state-required assessment. And therefore, presumably, one group of students did not have higher pressure or motivation to perform well on the test compared to the other. We also look at the satisfaction with the school from the view of parents and students. This was through the survey responses we received from the parents and the students who gave the school a rating of A or B. And we also look at the perception of school safety from the view of parents and students. And this is measured by the survey responses about how the percentage of parents or students who rated school as very safe. We also look at the parents' involvement in education activities in school and at home. So the school events could include attending a PTA meeting, receiving reporting card, or communication with the teachers about student progress. The home activities could include helping students with homework or school projects. So for the analytic approach to estimating impact, each outcome, we estimated two sets of results. The first is intent to treat impacts. It is conducted through a regression model that controls for the baseline characteristics of the students and families. And this estimate will basically tells to what extent the treatment students are different from the control students. The treatment students is defined as the students who were offered the scholarship. And we also look at the impact of scholarship use. And this is basically adjusting the intent to treat impact estimates by the usage rate. So this focuses on the students, the magnitude of the impact for the students who actually use the scholarship. We also look at the impacts for subgroups of students. And these subgroups include whether students attended a school in need of improvement by school level, elementary or secondary, or by how students perform at a baseline, lower or higher achiever in reading or math test. For all analysis, we apply the weights. So the weights actually incorporate information about the inverse probability of selection into the lottery, as well as non-response. So here's a summary of the findings. Overall, students who were offered or used the OSP scholarship had significantly lower mathematics achievement compared to students who were not offered or used the scholarship. Specifically, if you look at the bar here on the left side, students who were offered the scholarship performed 3.6 percentile lower than the students who are in the control group. And for students who were offered the scholarship performed, who used the scholarship, performed 4.9 percentile lower than the control students. However, for the reading outcome, these differences were not statistically significant. For the math, it is. So for students who were offered the scholarship, they performed 5.4 percentile lower. And similarly, for students who use the scholarship, they performed 7.3 percentile lower than the students in the control group who actually did not use the scholarship. Additionally, we conducted some subgroup analysis. Just a quick takeaway is there were also negative impacts on the reading and math achievement for students not attending school in need of improvement, as well as for students in elementary grades. So for the second outcome, the program did not have a statistically significant impact on parent or student satisfaction with the school. So, however, if you look at the bar charts, there are some differences in terms of percentage of parents or students who give their school a rating of A or B. For parents, the treatment group, the percentage is 76.8% compared to the control, which is 72.4%. So a difference of 4.3%. However, this is not statistically significant. And for the students, the difference is 8.2%, but that difference is not significant either. For the third outcome, the program did find parents of students offered or used the scholarship were significantly more likely to rate the school as very safe. And for the treatment group, the parents rated 67.7% of parents rated the school as very safe compared to 54.9%. And the difference is statistically significant. But for students, the difference is not. And finally, we did not find any significant findings in terms of parents' involvement in education at home or in school. As you see, the bars are pretty close. So just some a quick takeaway and a summary about these findings. So after the first year of the DC OSP program, we did find a negative impact on the students' mathematical achievement. We did not find impact on parents or students' general satisfaction with the school they attended in the first year. And the program had a positive impact on parents' perception of safety of the school and did not have impact on parent involvement in the children's activity at school or home. However, these results are all snapshot views of the OSP impact in the early stage, and we are conducting further studies and to assess the impacts in the second and third year. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer. We did have a report which is available on IES website, and you can download that PDF report to read more details about the exploratory analysis and the subgroup findings.
Thank you. John?